Britney Jean Spears was born 2nd of December 1981 in Kentwood, Louisiana, in a small village called Kipwood, just an hour away from New Orleans. A place she says she loves because her friends lived all around her and she could just chill out with them every day. Play games, go go-karting, or whatever. Indeed, she thoroughly enjoyed her childhood. She was a southern girl who loved Kaizen food and blues music. Like every girl, Britney did experience the pressures of popularity. She claims she was just not the Miss Popular cheerleader girl, yet she was not a nerd or a dork. She was just doing her own thing. At the tender age of 3, Britney's first love was dance. Her dad, Jamie, used to own a gym which is about 5 miles away from where she lived. On Saturdays, there used to be dance classes that would take place, and Lynn, Britney's mum, told Britney that she might as well go along. So Britney joined the kids' class. Who knew that in 15 years she would rocket up the charts and be crowned the undoubted Queen of Pop, taking over from her idol Madonna?
I love what I do. You know, honestly, I love what I do, and that's what keeps me going.
Taking the advice from the woman at the gym, Lynn entered Britney into various talent contests. One thing led to another. Britney also sung in the church choir. The first song that she performed in front of a live audience was at her kindergarten graduation at the age of 5. She sung a Christian song called "What Child Is This?" She recollects her memories of this performance and mocks the way she sung on that occasion. Then Britney got into Star Search by going to an audition at the age of 9. She was called back, and before she knew it, she was on TV performing for the very first time. Britney danced in the audition, which was later to become the audition for the Mickey Mouse Club, but she was too young for Disney TV.
Britney Spears is your typical all-American girl. Being pushed to fame by a pushing mother, she started at a young age with Christina Aguilera in the Mickey Mouse Club. She was then signed by Jive Records, where she performed in many big venues in America. Went on tour with the group NSYNC and finally made her hit with the infectious Baby One More Time in 1999.
Well, she was really young when she started out, so she's always been used to the limelight and being very successful. She started off in the Mickey Mouse Club, as did Christina Aguilera and Justin Timberlake from NSYNC. But when she was about 15, the show got cancelled, which meant that she was a bit old to start moving into mainstream performing. She did a few off-Broadway shows, and then one of her family friends, who happened to be an entertainment lawyer, gave her CD to Jive Records, and she got signed.
She got a job in an off-Broadway show called Ruthless, which was based on the movie The Bad Seed. She was the main character and had to sing and dance every day, even at Christmas. She felt quite homesick, and performing every day was quite monotonous. So she decided to spend Christmas with her family. The day before she left, there was an audition for the Mickey Mouse Club, and this time she got in.
She started with an amazing song, and there was no one on the music scene like it. She was 16, her video, she was in a school uniform, it was sexy, it was sassy, and it was just a brilliant song. So young girls wanted to be her, and older teenage boys wanted to go out with her.
In 1997, Britney flew to New York and sung for several record labels. She was soon to have these record companies knocking at her door. We all know the rest. She hit our screens with Baby One More Time, which ended up being the second biggest seller in the world in 1998.
Well, Britney's a very unique artist because she was noticed right from the start. Her first single, Baby One More Time, was a massive hit. It sold more than 1 million copies in its first year of release. And then after that, she followed it up with Oops, I Did It Again. And that was the most played song on radio around the world in the year 2000. So she was an instant star. She had the success right from the start.
She continued with a string of hits including Sometimes, Crazy and Born to Make You Happy.
She's got two great songs. The first one is the seminal song, as everyone would say, Hit Me Baby One More Time. It was the song that launched it onto the pop scene. It was fantastic. People play it in discos, school discos, nightclubs. I don't know anyone that doesn't own a single of it.
It's hard to define really a best song. Do you call it the song that sells the most? Do you call it the song that gets the most radio airplay? Do you call it the song that if you speak to people in the street they say, yes, that's my favourite Britney song? I mean, I'd say her first single was obviously very influential. It set up the mould, if you like, for many teen stars, teen girl stars to follow Britney.
In 2000, Britney released the album Oops, I Did It Again, followed by the release of the album just called Britney in 2001.
Her second big hit was the one that basically brought her back into line. She wasn't doing too well since then because she couldn't follow up a single like Hit Me Baby, which was Toxic, and that went to #1 in the British chart, and it was absolutely fantastic.
The biggest crossover song that she had, i.e. it appealed to teenagers, it appealed to men, it appealed to housewives doing the hoovering at home, would be Toxic. I mean, that was a smash hit for her in the UK and around the world, and it's still massive now. You can still hear it being played on the radio, you see the video on the TV. It's a song that just won't go away.
In 2003 came the release of In the Zone, but it was the release of Toxic that changed the minds of the record-buying public as it became a huge hit all over the world.
I think that this album isn't necessarily saying anything. I think the music is just a feeling on this record, on this album. It's kind of like this journey of, you know, songs that aren't so song structured. It's just kind of like a mood and a vibe that you feel when you hear the record.
With the release of Toxic came a new appreciation from the audience and the record-buying public as she established herself as a major star. Not since Madonna has a female artiste taken the music world by storm. The release of the single Toxic goes massive all over the world, breaking records wherever it is released. Britney's album also involves Madonna as a producer.
10秒前。
Oh, and also happy birthday.
Well, thank you too, again.
ねえ、12月2日誕生日を迎えたんですよね。You're 22.
Yes. I honestly think the fact that, you know, I took a year to do it and I just really took my time on each song and really got inside my own head with this album and, you know, took my time with it to do it right, and I think that in itself is the growth, and, you know, maybe not personally I've matured, but I know my work has matured.
Any funny episode in the studio? Because they have such a personality, like, you know, they all got a crazy icon, so.
Actually, I was never in the studio with R. Kelly. He actually gave me the track, and Madonna worked on the track in London, and we communicated over the phone, but I have some stories with other producers like Red Zone. They're just quirky and wacky and constantly laughing in the studio and made the environment really cool to work in. It's kind of inspiring. Well, I would love to do a film that's kind of like a musical. There's a lot of directors out there that are really amazing with that. Something like Moulin Rouge or Chicago, I love that because it's just not one, you know, boring character sheet. You know, characters like that are very dramatic, and I like that. And but if I could choose anybody to work with, probably Steven Spielberg. I like him a lot. He's a great director.
How about actress?
An actor. I think Colin Farrell is he's great. I think he's really good. Well, I haven't really thought about that too much, specific producers, but I think because I did collaborate on this record with so many people, I would probably, on the next one, make it kind of my own thing and just probably work with maybe one producer, because I really know how the process works now, and I know that I can do it on my own. So that's probably what I do.
Britney's world tour in 2003 breaks all records wherever she performs. In England, she is mobbed as she leaves the concert hall, a sight seen at every venue. The risque show is criticised by the critics for its overuse of skimpy costumes worn by Britney and the pre-recorded music she ad-libs to, but her fans love the performance, resulting in sell-out shows wherever she performs. The audience scream with delight as Britney sings one hit after another. From Hit Me Baby One More Time to her new sound with Toxic. From the start of her career to present day, you can hear the difference in her sound from a naive singer to a polished artiste with the recording of her new album. Maybe working with her idol Madonna as her record producer helped, but Britney came up trumps with a new sophisticated sound and has even developed her look from one of being a schoolgirl to a classic beauty. Her risque stage show did change the way the audience viewed Britney, but they didn't disapprove. So maybe her influences with Madonna has finally paid off, and now her hero has become her saviour too. Remember, Madonna has changed in the past from virgin, material girl, vamp to mother.
Well, Britney Spears has worked really hard on her singing style. If you can look back at Baby One More Time when she was singing that, and she had a very squeaky voice. Now she's aged a bit, her voice has dropped, and she's got a nice womanly sound coming out, and she's using it to the full potential, trying many, many different styles.
We all love Madonna, but Britney really loves Madonna. She's never ever hidden that. She's always been very open about wanting to work with Madonna. Madonna worked with her on Me Against the Music. I think that's the right name of the single. She worked with Madonna on her latest album, and they performed together at the MTV Video Music Awards with that infamous kiss. Britney's always said she wants a career like Madonna's, but one that reflects her own unique personality. But there's even rumours now that the wedding's going to be a Kabbalah wedding, following the footsteps of Madonna. So I think it's pretty safe to say that she's a Madonna fan.
At the MTV Awards, Britney Spears kissed Madonna and Christina Aguilera, confirming the three as queens of pop that were out there to entertain the audience as good as the men, or even better. With producing part of Britney's album, Madonna has shown her versatility and her openness to help the younger, up-and-coming talents such as Britney.
Britney Spears had many influences in her career and still has, and the main one is Madonna. She's quoted to say, "There is only one Madonna." If you remember recently in an awards show, she performed a song with Madonna and Christina Aguilera, and they were saying, both Christina Aguilera and Britney Spears, that they couldn't believe that they were on stage with Madonna. So no matter how high up you are the ladder of fame, you can still be struck by somebody higher up than you.
She is like, you know what I mean, to me. Like, she's been my idol since I was a little girl. So I was a little nervous when I met her. I was really a goob. So embarrassed. I can't believe, like, normally I'm really cool when I meet people. You know how this stuff, you know. I went to her and I was like, I feel like I should hug you. I know she was like, she is a dork. I was so embarrassed. If I could take that back, I totally would. But no, she had me starstruck. She really did. She's the one person that has me, like that. It's very different from any other song that I've ever done, I think, personally. And it's just the type of song that when you hear it on the radio, it's got a really good groove to it. And you just wanna dance. And I like it. It's really definitely different for me. But this is the kind of music that I'm listening to right now. So that's kind of the direction that my music is going towards. So I hope people like it.
In recent years, Britney has changed the direction of her music from a clean-cut young girl to an erotic performer with temptation on her mind, as the single I'm a Slave for You showed.
And it's a lot of dancing, and it's a place on a beach, and there's a love interest. And it's a wonderful song. It's a really sweet song. It's basically about a girl. She's like in love with this guy, but she doesn't know how to approach him because she's really shy.
I think music critics would be very cynical if I could put her in either of those categories. I think she hasn't really had a flawless album to say that she's a great studio artist. And the last time she went on tour, even though she's a great showwoman, she has amazing costumes and she puts a lot into her publicity machine, she got slated for the Onyx Hotel tour because she was supposed to not be singing live. And when you pay a lot of money to see your hero when you're 15 years old, it's a bit of a letdown, to be honest. So she needs to work on both areas.
It's really hard to say whether Britney is more at home in the studio or on stage, or whether she's more loved on her albums or in live performances. I've seen her about 3 times on stage, and early on she was very small on stage. She seemed to be dwarfed by the music, by the dancers, by the stage set, and she has grown and grown. And with her Hotel Onyx tour, she absolutely owned that stage. She was a complete whiz. But people would say, well, she was miming. I mean, where's the talent in that? So maybe she is more at home in the studio, but I think that's really for the fans to decide. They love her albums, they love her on stage, so maybe she's at home in both places.
Now, if you've ever had the pleasure of seeing Britney Spears perform live, it's not just her performance. If you look at the whole picture, the creative mind that she's got is absolutely tremendous. There's one particular number where she appears from the roof of the auditorium on a little swing and comes down, and it then turns into a little dragonfly. I mean, she's very, very, very inventive with choreography and stars on stage. This helps her, I think, as an all-round performer to achieve exactly what she wants. And I think now at this stage in her career, she is getting what she wants.
From an early age, I always knew I wanted to perform, and doing that, fame comes with that. So I mean, I'm just, I've always wanted to perform and being on stage, and it's the best feeling in the world.
The daughter that you were interviewing.
No, I'm kidding. I came to see Britney Spears. She's fantastic, and she loves her music, and it's just a great opportunity to see her new style and her new costumes. And I know she's been going through some hard times, which we all go through growth from time to time, but I'm just real proud of her music and her discipline in the industry.
She's just fun. She's our age, and she's a good performer, and she's coming out. It should be fun.
Well, she's been an inspiration to me because I'm a dancer, and I've been in singing lessons before, and I just want to turn out like her.
No, probably not like she did in Vegas. I'll probably do it more the, the traditional way, and like her.
The young want to be like her, and fans try to emulate her. Britney is one of those artists that the public just loves. At her recent concert tour, the audience went wild as she performed one song after another. As a young singer who gyrates across the stage, Britney's fans erupted into frenzy as she performed "Hit Me Baby One More Time", to the delight of the audience. Now, after all this time, the young girl from Kentwood, Louisiana has turned out good, surprising all her critics as well as her hometown. From a humble beginning as a young girl who was into dancing at the age of 5, to her successful audition into the Mickey Mouse Club, she has become a superstar that has equalled her idol Madonna. Even making her own feature film Crossroads, for which she wrote the script as well as the music.
Well, I think what gave Britney such instant appeal was that she was the only female artist to be in the charts at the time. When she came out with Baby One More Time, here she was young, she was attractive, she was successful, and that made teenage girls fall in love with her straight away. However, it was really clever. It also made the men fall in love with her. Here she was in full Catholic school regalia, but with a bit of a naughty twist. And the men liked what they saw, the girls liked what they heard. And there was Britney created as an instant star with instant fans.
Everyone's really Britney fan, they just don't admit it. She's got fans from 9-year-old girls that want to be her, that want to have her lifestyle and her money, to 25-year-old boys that wouldn't mind sharing a Diet Pepsi with her.
I think Britney is loved because people love to knock her, but her fans notice her vulnerability and they just want to love her. I mean, the papers and the magazines, the gossip magazines, can criticise her for smoking or for falling out of clubs allegedly drunk. But what the fans see is the sort of the tender side to Britney, the bit where you see kind of Britney's spots in the papers, the bits where you see her in tears because someone's upset her, and the fans want to kind of show their love for Britney and really sort of look after her and protect her. And there was a great moment on the Hotel Onyx tour where she turned around to the audience and said, "My life has been a roller coaster. You've been there for me. Thank you." And I think that's something the fans knew and they really appreciate too.
When she first started, the red tops, the tabloids, the men's magazines loved her because she was young, she was very pretty, very sexy, and obviously the Daily Mail readers of the world didn't like her quite as much because she was sexualising our children far too young, and I think, to be honest, it's a case to say that she was. Now people are more concerned by her private life, and since her infamous wedding to her childhood friend in the new year that got annulled after about 3 days, and now she's engaged to someone equally unsuitable, I think they basically just love to hate her and watch her decline now.
Britney finds media attention very hard. I mean, anyone would who has to live out their life in the public eye 24/7. When Britney got married, she couldn't understand why all the papers the next day were full of details of her wedding. And it was quite revealing. She actually said, "Don't you realise that we landed on Mars that day, the planet Mars, when the probe set down?" She couldn't understand why that wasn't making headline, cover-grabbing world news worldwide, and why her kind of silly mistake of a wedding was. Recently, her mother has slightly attacked people for criticising Britney too, as any mother would, wanting to protect their daughter. She said, "Look, my daughter has her off days like any other woman does, and you know, sometimes you're going to see her looking great, sometimes she's going to look not so great." But I think that's just one of the perils of living your life in the public eye, really.
In September 2004, Britney married her fiancé Kevin Federline, a ceremony that was controversial, not only for the singer marrying for the second time, but for the way that she and the groom dressed. She wore a tracksuit with the words "Maids" written on the back, and the groom wore a tracksuit with the words "Pimp" on the back. Not your ordinary wedding outfit. Then Britney is no ordinary bride. Then, after the event, more bad publicity appeared in the UK's News of the World, when the newspaper reported that Britney's two uncles were relatives she would rather forget, when it was reported they had been arrested for beating up their wives and drunk driving. Court records obtained by the newspaper showed that in 1999, one of the uncles even pointed a gun at his wife and threatened to kill her, but instead hit her with a bottle. No wonder the superstar wanted nothing to do with this part of the family, and made sure that her uncles were not invited to the wedding. In recent times, Britney has announced that she is due to go back into the recording studio to record a new album and produce a new record with a single producer this time, instead of the way that she recorded her last album with a group of producers and writers, one of them being Madonna. Her idea is to fulfill her own dreams and concentrate on her own feelings, which she now believes she can do. Over the years, Britney has had many ups and downs, but none so problematic than a relationship with Justin Timberlake, the reported man of her dreams and the man she wanted to marry. She first met Timberlake at the Mickey Mouse Club, and they instantly became friends, then lovers. As his career developed with NSYNC, their love grew more intense. They even broke up on numerous occasions. Then in 2003, it finally came, the announcement that the two were now separated and they had gone their own ways. Months later, Britney married his childhood friend, who she divorced within 72 hours, stating that it was a mistake. Then in 2004, she married again, this time to Kevin Federline, a dancer in her stage show. Many friends of Britney believe that this is a rebound decision after a split with Justin Timberlake.
Britney Spears was escorted by minders to keep the media and fans at arm's length. Her latest single is suitably entitled Overprotected and mirrors the media circus that surrounds the 20-year-old star. Britney sings about being closer to her fans, but her UK TV performances were all behind closed doors.
I asked the bodyguard if it's okay if I can ask Britney for an autograph, because a year ago when I met her, they pushed me away when I asked her, so I thought I'd ask him first, and he said no, he couldn't.
Once the show was over, her devoted admirers just managed to catch a glimpse of Britney leaving by the back door in a 9-car convoy on her way back to the US. Just another day's work for a pop princess who likes to stay out of reach but in demand.
Now with her recent UK tour, accompanied by her minders, Britney is being escorted into various studios to keep her safe as threats against her life are reported to the record company.
Britney's had a very turbulent love life, but I think that's going to happen when you're living your life in the public eye. She started off most famously by dating Justin Timberlake. Of course, everyone knows who he is. But it was all kept very secret at the start. She didn't want people to know she was dating Justin until she turned up at an awards ceremony with him on her arm, and there it was for all the world to see. I was fortunate enough to be working on a magazine at the time when we interviewed Britney, and we were actually the first magazine who she said to, "I love Justin," and that was a great moment to realise this guy she'd known since she was 12 years old was finally, you know, her lover, the man of her life, and the man she wanted to settle down with. Of course, things did get more tragic for Britney later on. She split up with Justin. It was a very painful split, and a split that was lived out in the public eye. And as Britney's life went off the rails, her love life also went a little bit off the rails. She was dating so-called serial philanderers like the actor Colin Farrell, the rock star Fred Durst. These were really not the kind of clean-cut guy she'd been seen with before. More recently, Britney's been in the papers again for her wedding in Vegas to a childhood friend of hers. Within 55 hours, the wedding was over. It was all deemed to be a big joke. But I think that may have temporarily damaged Britney for a bit. Now she's lucky enough to be in love again. She's engaged to a former backing dancer of hers, Kevin Federline, and I think she's going to marry him, and things are going to be great. The only intriguing thing is the fact that his stag do is in the same hotel that Britney was staying in when she got married. I wonder what she thinks of that.
To be honest, I don't think anyone's looking at her career at the moment. Everyone's more concerned by the fact she's about to marry a man a lot older than her that's already divorced and has 2 kids. Her personal life has always had a lot of attention because she was the world's most famous virgin when she was going out with Justin Timberlake. Then they broke up, then there were the claims that she was unfaithful. So she's always had a pretty turbulent private life. But in terms of a career, I think once the wedding of the year's over, I think she might do a Madonna. She's a big Madonna fan, and I think she wants to tour more and basically get the fans and the press back on side.
Britney was groomed from childhood to become a teenage superstar. A 17-year-old Britney Spears managed to breathe new life into a tired and often illegal art form, the schoolgirl video. Britney's debut single, Baby One More Time, was released in 1999, accompanied by a video of a uniformed Britney high-stepping it along the high school corridors. The attendant controversy and titillation helped propel Britney to the top of the charts across the world, but ever since she's been trying to grow up in public. As she tries to manage the transition from awkward teen to adult woman, she's had to endure a very public breakup with former boyfriend Justin Timberlake, bad career choices including her Crossroads debut feature film, and an ill-advised liaison with portly nu metal hero Fred Durst of Limp Bizkit. Her demo tapes eventually landed at Jive Records, who signed her and hired top producers and songwriters to work with their new employee. Max Martin of Backstreet Boys fame wrote her UK debut #1, Baby One More Time, and the resulting album was also a worldwide chart topper, spawning the hits Sometimes, Crazy, and a second UK #1, Born to Make You Happy, in January 2000. Britney quickly became a media sensation.
Well, this is my first movie, so I'm not really expecting an Academy Award, but in the future, you know, acting really challenges me because it's definitely a new territory and I'm not used to that. So, but in the future, I would love to get recognition, so we'll see.
I really loved the whole story of Crossroads. At the time before I started doing the movie, I was getting a lot of scripts, but nothing that I could really put my heart into and that I wanted to do. So I came up with the whole idea of Crossroads, and I just loved the whole story of 3 girls and just, you know, their friendship and being on a road trip together, and I just really loved the message that it portrayed.
Yes, Justin was there the entire time, and he had his fist cocked, ready to take me out if I went too far. No, I met Justin out a couple of times. He's a real good guy. He was a very good sport about the whole thing. No, it was.
At first, we were kind of iffy if we were going to do something like that, if we were just going to do it without music. But then I said, you know, a movie with music just makes it so much more appealing and entertaining. You know, so that's why we went there and we did that. And especially with the scene with I Love Rock and Roll, it just makes you, you know, it makes it more entertaining, of course. And that's there's one scene where we're drinking and we're all together and we're partying on the bed. That was probably the funnest scene because in real life it was like 3 o'clock in the morning and we were just going at it. We were deliriously tired, you know, so that was the funnest scene. I think it was important because it's real, and that's something that teenagers, you know, deal with on a daily basis every day in America. And you know, as long the whole generalization of the movie is there's things like that going on, but if you have your friends there that can be with you and you can talk to about it, that's what matters.
Spears decided to take a 6-month break from the music business in 2002. After making a brief cameo appearance in Austin Powers' Gold Member.
Britney is huge because until she started there was no one on the music scene like her. Maybe in the 50s we had teenage icons, but she was really the first girl to be so openly sassy. I mean, Madonna did it years ago, but she was a bit older. Britney was only 15 or 16. Her video, she was dancing around school in a teenage school uniform. The single was absolutely fantastic, and I just think she wowed everyone.
Well, it's funny how things change, because for Britney, the only way now has to continue being up. She did struggle earlier in her career. People thought maybe Britney was finished. She went off the rails for a while. She was seen falling out of clubs, allegedly drunk. She was smoking. She had some tattoos done. Some people say she had a boob job. You know, Britney really was seen to be finished. She reinvented herself like Madonna. She was the queen of reinvention. She came back with another great album. She did the Hotel Onyx tour, which astounded everybody. It was one of the most amazing tours I've ever seen. And she's now got a fantastic album out there, In the Zone.
Justin Timberlake cast a Britney lookalike in his Cry Me a River video and spoke crudely about their sex life in a radio interview. And then Britney had to face Limp Bizkit's Fred Durst, sharing extremely graphic kiss and tell descriptions of his fling with the Princess of Pop to anyone who'd listen. Back to the recording studio then for some sanity. Britney's 4th album, In the Zone, saw her again try to move further away from her squeaky clean Princess of Pop status to a more sexually charged adult image. In January 2004, Britney visited London briefly to publicise her new Pepsi TV commercial, filmed with Beyoncé Knowles in pink. Amazingly, she managed not to marry anyone. More than any other single artist, Britney Spears was the driving force behind the return of teen pop in the late 90s. The blockbuster success of the Spice Girls and Backstreet Boys certainly paved the way for her own commercial breakthrough. But Spears didn't just become a star, she was a bona fide pop phenomenon. Not only did she sell millions of records, she was a media fixture regardless of what she was or wasn't doing. Among female singers of the era, many of whom followed in her footsteps, her celebrity star power was rivaled only by Jennifer Lopez. From the outset, Britney's sex appeal was an important part of her image.
You know, honestly, I love what I do, and that's what keeps me going. I love getting on stage at night and performing my heart out. I live to, you know, go on a set and, you know, be a character and tell a story to somebody. That's what I love.